Hello, everyone. Welcome to Switchcraft, the Fingerboard podcast. My name is Jana, and this time I'm sitting here who I've known of for probably almost 20 years. He was one of the legends of the old forum days, back when German forums were the number one thing in fingerboarding. Say hello to Manu Oberle.
Hello, everybody.
So, as I mentioned before, you've been around forever. Do you roughly remember when you got into fingerboarding and how you got into fingerboarding?
That's a long time ago. Well, I remember seeing my first tech deck in probably 1999 or something in a skate shop. And there were just very little skateboarding in my city. And there was one skate shop, and there was the guy behind the counter who had a tech deck and he could do ollies. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But I was too shy to ask what it is. And so I was just fascinated by it. And then for like a year or so, I was looking in the supermarkets and the toy section for fingerboards, skateboards. And I couldn't find any until like one day at Easter. I I bought two tech decks, one for me and one for my brother. And yeah, that's when we started, probably in like 2000 or something. And then it was becoming a trend in the school. Everybody
Mm.
had one. And yeah,
Yeah,
since
that
then
was
I'm fingerboarding.
the same time I started when it got to the like trend phase in like 2000 2001,
Yeah, exactly.
and only a few people stuck around once the trend ended.
Yeah. And I remember like in school when in the breaks everybody was
Yeah.
fingerboarding on a table tennis table and
Mm.
jumping over the net. And we used to have like stickers instead of grip tape so we can press our fingers really hard on the board and lift it up because we didn't know how to ollie or that it's even possible to do a kickflip or anything like
Uh,
that. So it was
yeah,
really, and
back then, sorry.
yeah, we didn't know anything about it. And like I stopped fingerboarding, or it was not fingerboarding, but I stopped using it for like 2 years because I didn't know that it's possible to do anything else. And just like when I was in another school, there was a guy who could do kickflips, and that's when I really started fingerboarding again. Or
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember in those days, for some reason, for a long time, I couldn't really do anything in flat ground, but as soon as I had a transition, I could do
yeah,
every single trick. Don't know if you remember that from back then, but I would always like we had chairs that had like in school that had like a wooden thing with a curve on the bottom. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
using those as a quarter pipe, like every time my either my teachers wouldn't tell me to stop, or yeah, in breaks. And yeah.
Did the teacher ever took your fingerboard away?
um Not that I can remember, like at least none of my good ones. uh, could be that I got one of the tech decks taken away, but not that I can remember.
Yeah, I didn't got one taken away, but a friend of mine, he got the English teacher was so annoyed by him always.
Yeah,
So
it is an annoying sound.
and I can understand, I can relate. Like
Yeah.
even imagine like when I was at home with my parents and I was always fingerboarding and always tuck tuck tuck. Tuck.
Yeah.
And when you do it, it's okay, but when you don't do it, it's annoying.
Yeah, like when you're for example, when I have friends over, like back when that was used to be allowed, and we would play board games, and one
Yeah,
of them would fingerboard while playing board games. It was so annoying, and
yeah,
I usually don't say anything because, yeah, well, but yeah, it is an annoying noise,
yeah, it's true. But I
and for
think
some reason it becomes less annoying when a lot of people do it.
yeah,
Like when it's a room full of people, you don't even hear it anymore.
then it's like a background noise.
Yeah.
And it helps to have like a good setup with good wheels, so it's a little bit quieter. And when
Yeah.
you land the tricks, it's also quieter.
Yeah.
There's more satisfying sound than when you bail all the time. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, one of the reason I'm redoing my park soon is that it's
Mhm.
super loud. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's hollow inside and it's super loud.
yeah, it's like a drum.
Yeah, but I wanted to get back to something. You mentioned that there were not that many skateboarders in your town, and I don't think a lot of or too many people know this. You live in like the middle of Switzerland, pretty much, right? Or how far is the next town? Or
Well, I grew up, or I'm still living kind of in Zurich. It's actually the biggest city in
Mhm.
Switzerland. And there were some skaters, and there was a skate park like half an hour away. But I was a kid, I couldn't just go there. And
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm staying a lot in the Alps, in the mountains, in a small village where there's nobody living here.
Yeah, I've
The
seen
old,
pictures.
yeah, it's the old house from my grandfather and grandmother, and yeah, now it's I'm away from everybody. Like the next shop where you can get food, it's like walking 1 hour. And
Crazy.
in the summer I can drive there. It's okay, but in the winter it's a little bit more of an adventure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and also getting like stuff for to make boards or whatever, you have to order it or
Mm.
go to Zurich and then bring it up here.
Yeah, because post office and stuff probably don't deliver to the back of the mountain.
No, there used to be a post office like 30 years ago.
Okay.
Like one guy who had the smallest post office here, but that's closed. But yeah, it's
um,
cool. So I go to the shop like every like once in a week or every 2 weeks, and then I ship some stuff when I have sold something.
uh, cool. Um, I mentioned earlier that back in the days you were one of the names people associated with the forums. Because I feel like the forum scene back then was a bit its own scene within the German or German speaking scene, and
Mhm.
you and people like Fabian Schreiter and a few other people were like always in every forum, and yeah, you were like the VIPs of the forums back then.
That's so strange to hear because for me, like Fabi or even Peter from Preet, those
Mm,
were around before me even, and there was also Timo Lieben popping up in the forum chat
mm,
sometimes. And
yes.
for me, I was always like the noob in the group. But yeah, like over the years, you know everybody there, and it gets like it's like a scene in itself.
Yeah,
And
remember one Fast Fingers when we all forum people like had like one section in the audience and we're all yeah hanging out there the whole day, and every time one of us wrote, all of us cheered, and yeah, it was like a small scene within the scene.
yeah, it was like a new scene. Like before, there was Black River and the people around Black River. They met before at events and
Mm,
contests, and like for the kids, we just had the forums. The internet was kind of new and exciting, and
exactly.
the first forum, it was like, wow, I can share my hobby and I can post pictures and like some small clips. And
Mm,
so this grew like a scene, but I think it became the scene later.
yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
it grew from this forum scene to the actual scene,
Yeah,
and
yeah, because
now it's
like
of course different.
because there were so many people back then who by now are names in the scene or aren't in the scene anymore, like the whole Kassel Ost crew,
Yeah,
Philly, Mark S, yeah, so many people I'm probably also
yeah,
blanking
there
on.
were a lot. Basti
Yeah,
M.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny, like there's some people that left, but recently some people also came back to the scene. Like
Mhm.
for example, Joey Leclerc from Oilrolled Wheels.
Yeah, I heard that he came back, and
Yeah,
I still I think I still have some remains of oil rolled wheels somewhere
yeah.
here.
I too somewhere. I was in the team, so I
Yeah,
got some wheels laying around. Yeah, but he was messaging me like 2 weeks ago, and we talked a little bit, and it's so cool because I really haven't talked to him for more than 10 years,
yeah.
and now he posted some fingerboard clips again, and
Oh,
it's
cool.
so cool to have these people still like connecting with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff like this.
When I talked to like when I met up with Fabi a couple of years ago, we
Yeah,
also hadn't seen or talked for yeah 10 years or even longer. And it's so cool to see people you haven't seen in that long. And yeah,
yeah, it's
and
amazing.
also at the bigger events, like sadly last year and this year probably the same, there is no big event, but at the last big event, the Fast Fingers, everyone was there. Like
Yeah,
so many people we haven't seen in ages came back. uh,
yeah. Everybody wanted to have this experience again. I think.
yeah,
Like
and
yeah, like for example, Fabi. Like with Fabi, I talked for years every day on MSN and in the
yeah.
forums, like all the time. And then I didn't hear from him in years, and then I saw him at Fast Fingers again. It was like, yeah, it's so cool
Yeah.
to be back together. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I remember hanging out in the kitchen at the Steig and talking to Tobias Fieler and Hansen
Yeah,
for a couple hours, or seeing Dima and Dimitri
yeah,
Schwartauer and Elias Asmut
yeah.
back
Everybody.
again. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and it's I don't know the scene it kind of changed. Like from the forum days, it was it was different. It was more about fingerboarding and like sharing the experience and
mm,
sharing your tricks and everything was new. Like learning a kickflip was something special or a switch heel flip.
yeah,
Nobody had done switch heel flips, and then you can share it online. The first, oh my god, and it's so cool. And then it became this friendship thing, and everybody
yeah,
grew up a little bit. And so it's really cool to
yeah,
have this whole 15 or 20 years almost now looking back at it.
yeah, yeah. Like a friend of mine once showed me that Boris Dici was doing a switch heel nose slide in Pissing Fingers 1 with a
Yeah,
26 millimeter tech deck. That was something you didn't see back then. Like
that's
that
insane.
was an outlier. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah
think
it's
Fabi
hard
was
to.
one of the only ones who could do a lot of switch tricks.
Yeah, I mean, Fabi can do every trick ever if he just wants to do it and take some time.
Yeah.
He's crazy. And yeah, for and Boris Dici, I remember seeing a clip of him in the Black River tour in a van. They had like this
Hmm.
small table in the car, and
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
he
I
was
remember
doing
that.
a nollie heel flip, and it was
Yeah.
mind blowing. I still have it in my head, the image of this nollie heel flip, and I don't know, it was like so crazy to see it, and now everybody can do it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super dope. Like when I started getting back into fingerboarding, uh, someone at the shop, I think it was Harry, said, "I prefer nollie much more than regular," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I will learn nollie. I'm, I'm just learning regular again." And now, like the first trick I do in every game of skate is a nollie flip because it's the one I'm most comfortable with.
Nice. Nice. I should do more nollie flips again.
Yeah,
I always do kick flips.
yeah. I do very little kick flips. Like I always sweat a bit if someone sets a kickflip in a game of skate.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, and speaking of the times back then,
Mm.
at some point you started making decks. Do you remember when you roughly started making your own decks?
Yeah, it's like back then there was very few people who made their own fingerboards of the
Yeah,
wood.
like four brands, or like
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And like one of the guy was Preet, like Peter,
yeah,
and he was also sharing some pictures on the forums, and you can see how he does it.
yeah.
And then there was Fabi and Valerie Miller
I still
doing
have one of those in my on my wall.
favor
A
boards,
favor.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this was actually I think in 2004 or
Uh,
2005 at the
Shortwood.
Young and Free Festival in Nuremberg, where
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
saw the first board of Waller and Fabi,
Yeah.
and I came back home and actually went to the mountains where I am now, and I found some veneer laying around in the workshop from my grandfather. And then I was like, man, okay, I can try to make a fingerboard, and I didn't know how to because I didn't have a mold or anything. So
Hmm.
I just took a piece of wood and I cut the mold and sanded the mold very bad. And then I pressed just some like three pieces of veneer together, and that was my first fingerboard. And it, I, I have to, I think I have pictures on Instagram. The holes were not drilled; they were hammered with a nail
Hmm.
and stuff like that. It was like I didn't know what I did, but it worked, and so I just started experimenting a lot with different molds, like make how to make a mold. And there was a guy in from the US, Brandon Jones.
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember him. He was like one of the first guys who made like YouTube tutorials about making
I
epoxy
think I've
molds.
seen I think I've seen that video.
Yeah, and so I didn't find epoxy here in Switzerland. And
Hmm.
so I experimented with other stuff. I even made a concrete mold one time. And it worked for some parts. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's when it started.
that was always the thing for me. Every time I would see a tutorial of someone making something, I would have
Yeah,
no idea where to find it in Germany, because I would have no
exactly.
idea what the name of it was in German, or if it was the same name, or if it even exists. Like some products just don't exist here, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
super
totally.
hard to find the stuff that you need sometimes.
Yeah, like for fingerboards, like the veneer, getting veneer was really hard at the beginning. In Switzerland, I couldn't find any shop, like online shop,
Mm.
and you have to go to the like woodworkers and ask around, and maybe somebody has like veneer, but then most of the veneer was like 1 millimeter thick, so it was way
Mm.
too thick for fingerboards, and I couldn't use it. And then I found an online shop in Germany that I could order it, but it was super expensive to ship it to Switzerland, and I didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't really know
Yeah,
what I have to buy, and so it was really hard to find materials. And yeah, it's not like today where you can go to, I don't know, Amazon or something and just buy
yeah,
everything. It was really
yeah.
different to find solutions.
Like even getting like fingerboard stuff that other people made. Usually I would get my stuff at contests. Like uh,
Yeah,
I think Martin Winkler only sold his wheels in person back then.
yeah, I think
Like
so too. And I
I
remember getting my first Berlin wood from Timo also.
yeah, yeah, I got a couple online before I got one in person. But yeah,
Yeah.
I eventually got one in person.
Actually, my first Berlin wood I bought in Germany in a skate shop in Titus in Freiburg. And
Ah,
they even
cool.
had a Black River park. I remember on the Black River website that it was all brown
Yes.
with skulls. And they have like this map of Germany with skate shops
Yeah,
where
I
they
remember that.
and I was like with my family in the city there visiting, and I was like, we have to go there. We have to go to the Titus. There's a fingerboard park, and I was so excited to go there. And we were there for like half an hour, and I bought a fingerboard. I did some tricks on the park, and my parents were like, oh, okay, let's go. Let's go. But
Yeah,
then,
I remember
yeah,
being super bummed because there was like basically a circle around where I lived where there was nothing for like 2 hours.
yeah. And I think the map was never updated after that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes you go
but
to a place and there was no park there because they
yeah,
sold it or whatever.
yeah, but Stuttgart, which was the biggest city next to me, never had a park back then. It had like you could buy like a Berlin wood or a couple Berlin wood, and they always had like the Digi box and some like picnic tables and rails and stuff. But that was like everything you could buy, and at that point I already had everything, so it was like. I want to buy something here, but I don't have any money, and I already have
Yeah,
like 3 Berlin woods.
of course, it was super expensive. Like for as a kid,
Yeah,
it's hard to get like some stuff. And
yeah,
also, there was the online shop from Black River, and I remember it was probably the first time I ordered something online. It was some ramps, and I think for Christmas I got a quarter pipe and the bench and the table. Yeah, but that was
yeah. And
quite
I never
exciting.
bought from Black River back then, other than on events, because I would always build my own ramps, and
Yeah,
like even built a G3 for myself, and it was like super bad and everything, but I liked it with what I had. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I also did like cardboard ramps a lot, and
yeah.
it was super fun. I even did one of the first, I don't know, one of the first bowls out of concrete.
Mm.
Like when LJ did his bowl, I was doing my version, and it was super bad. It was like so heavy, and but it was cool to just learn to work with different materials and in like exploring something new. Like for fingerboarding, it was weren't like 20 bowls around. There was like maybe we
Yeah,
saw a picture of one or two, and we were like, wow, let's
yeah.
try it, and then let's figure it out how it's what works and what doesn't work. And so it was really everything was more trying new stuff and exploring what's possible even. Like yeah, that was super fun and a creative time for fingerboarding, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I also tried building a bowl, and I had like a school project where we had to do something in art class, and I was at a like very progressive school, and
Hmm.
our art class was pretty much do whatever you want. If you don't want to do anything, that's also fine because like we we could hang out at the art uh, building like every time we wanted, like when we were in like a
Nice.
bit higher grade, and
Hmm.
it would end up with us just spending every break and every time we didn't have class there because it was the coolest place to be, and you would
Yeah,
eventually just pick up something and try something, and that way you would do more art than otherwise you would do if you just stuck uh, to the terms in your calendar.
yeah.
But yeah, I tried making a bowl out of stone with like masonry, and I
Wow.
worked on it for like probably more than half a year. And eventually, it cracked one night because
Oh.
it was outside, like it was under a roof, but it was
Hmm.
outside. And eventually, there was like some water dripping down, freezing, and yeah, then it was like a huge crack through the whole bowl,
Oh
and
shit.
by that point, I was maybe like 10, 50 centimeters deep, and spent like
Crazy.
all this time and was like, nah, I'm not doing that again.
Wow, that would be amazing to have a stone
Yeah.
bowl.
Yeah, like seeing the stone park that Black River had, like the
Ah, for in Wunsiedel, the
yeah, that one. The
missing fingers also.
yeah, like
Yes.
after I saw that one, I was like, damn, I want something like that, but never going to happen without any like
Wow,
proper tools.
that's so crazy. In the
Yeah,
Pissing Fingers too, I think they bring it to the
yeah,
ISPO
to Ispo,
today,
yeah,
and
yeah.
seeing this was just yeah,
That's where
seeing,
Bogastici does the switch heel.
yeah. and Elias also.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Elias is like 10 or something like that in that
yeah,
clip,
a little
and
bit.
yeah,
Barely making to the top of the park.
yeah,
Yeah, but seeing this was mind blowing. Even imagine like even today, this a park like this would be completely insane,
yeah,
and they did it like 15 years ago or even before that. So it's
yeah,
that's crazy. Just thinking it.
yeah. It's absolutely insane. I would love to try my hand on something like that, but it would
Yeah,
take so much time and tools and the space to do that. Yeah,
yeah, and then you break it again.
yeah,
It's
yeah. Because like with natural materials, stuff like that can happen where
of
a
course you never know.
bit of water and when it freezes, it expands and cracks everything.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It
Um.
reminds me of another bowl from Nick Herzog. He was doing a bowl out of one piece of wood, like a stump of wood, and he
Oh.
just
Oh yeah. I
carved it
wrote
out.
that one at Fast Fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also like a sculpture kind of. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember sessioning that one with Martin Winkler at one of the Fast Fingers for a couple, like in basically in the middle of the night, like when a lot of people already went to sleep, and we would ride there until like I don't know in the morning, into the morning hours with beer
Nice.
and yeah.
Having a good
It was
session.
one of yeah, it was one of those moments where I was like, "Holy shit! I'm riding a boat with Martin Winkler for a couple hours. Like, how the fuck did that happen?"
That's amazing. Man, Martin Winkler was one of those people that was really a legend even back then. Like when you
Yeah,
say that I'm known it from the in the forums, but those guys like DG and Winkler, they were
yeah,
like pioneers of all of this. And
yes,
they should have
absolutely.
mad respect for that.
Yeah, like I had a couple contests when I hung out with Winkler quite a bit, and it was
Mhm.
like, how the fuck does he know who I am? Like,
Yeah,
it was like like being starstruck. Like probably like a lot of people or a lot of kids looking up to Mike Schneider now.
yeah, completely. It's so funny to remember back in the days when I met them the first time. I was like, oh, I was too shy to ask to talk to them.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was the same for me.
I think it was in 2003 in German Championship in Freiburg
I
when I was
think that was 2004. Could that be? Because
in
2004 in
2004.
Freiburg was my first. Because I like
Okay, so
championship
maybe yeah,
in
completely.
Freiburg was also my first, and that was in 2004.
Okay, then was maybe 2004. Where with the
But
big park with the kinked
yeah,
park, like one of the
yeah,
biggest fingerboard parks ever.
yeah,
And I remember sitting there and seeing Winkler and Dici and everybody, and I was just too shy to talk to them. And yeah, but it was amazing. It's super experience. And then every other event, you see them and you talk to them. And
yeah.
they are all super nice guys.
Yeah, it was super awkward when talking to someone from the Castle Ost crew. Like
Hmm.
I, like I, a couple years after I fought back and was like, I was so awkward. And I also
Yeah.
remember Boris Dici standing at one of the parks I was riding, and
Hmm.
uh, someone was saying something like, uh, I can't write that because I'm a lefty. And he would
Hmm.
like suddenly scream over like half of the park, yeah, Black River and the stupid right hand fascism. Like completely out of nowhere. And
Right.
I think back of the Rechtshänder-Faschismus a lot. Like,
Yeah. They just changed it when they did the Game of Skate finals at Fast Fingers.
yeah, yeah, I think that
That's
was after I left. Because when I left, I think the finals were still run based. Because because
right.
I judged the last Fast Fingers I was at, the Fast Fingers number 10, and I
Hmm.
think, like, if I'm not misremembering, I think that was just uh, just yeah, runs against each other. It was Elias Asmuth and another guy. like someone from Poland, but I can't remember for the life of me who it was.
I don't remember. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's true. There were a lot of runs in the finals.
yeah.
But then they had Game of Skates for a while in the regular park, and then I don't know when, maybe 2015 or 14, they brought the final park for Game of Skate where you couldn't do left and right hand tricks the same.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
then
and
the fascism ended.
yeah, that's so much easier. Like even still, when people visit the Other Berlin shop and uh, like we're constantly playing game of skate, not to see who's better. Like we don't even care at this point because a lot of like the Berlin locals I probably played a couple hundred times. It's more like, yeah,
Sure,
we're hanging out and it's like the thing we do while hanging out.
of
And
course.
every time there's like a lefty, it's like, no, sorry, we can play this one park and just ignore this rail here and then it's symmetrical, the stone park. But yeah,
Or just flat ground.
yeah, or just flat ground, yeah. But I mean, now that Julian Buono and Henneman build the simple spot, there's
Yeah,
also another option. But yeah,
yeah, I want to ride that one. I've never been there since it was built. I think
I can't
it's
remember
cool.
when it was probably after the last Fast Fingers.
Yeah, I
Must
think
be.
I've never been to Berlin after that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's so cool.
yeah. We
But yeah,
have to.
when we talk about fascism in fingerboarding, I remember Mike coming to Germany the first time for Fast
Mhm.
Fingers, and he couldn't reach the park because it was too high.
Yeah,
so
I heard that.
so we had to put pallets in front of the park for him to stand up. It was so cool. So
Yeah,
maybe we
like
should go
even
look parks.
even still, in to get back to the other Berlin store in the basement, the the park that Harry built,
Mhm.
like it's even too tall for me, and I'm the same height as Harry. Like I'm 190. Like I'm really tall, and some of the corners like are so deep that I basically have to put like my whole upper body up onto the park and then lean over and then I can ride the edge way back there.
Sick.
Yeah, but when I play with Henneman,
Yeah.
who is like a good like 10, 15 centimeters shorter than I, or maybe even 20, like I do a trick and he looks at me like, you
You can
asshole,
reach.
like I can't reach that.
So you win by
Yeah,
default.
yeah,
Yeah, but like I remember playing a lot of Game of Skates now when we talk about Game of Skate. And for me, it was never about winning, but it was always about learning new tricks. Like somebody does a trick like
absolutely.
a nollie heel flip, and you were like, I cannot do it, but then you try it and you have to try it. And then you really expand your trick repertoire to do
Absolutely.
tricks. It's so fun. Like,
Like I
and
landed my first nollie heel in a game of skate.
yeah, that's
Like
sick.
yeah, like and I don't know. Like at some point, Nico Frank pulled out a like nollie tray double or a switch tray double, and I was like, well, I just give it a try, and it worked. Like things like
Yeah,
that.
it's so fun.
Yeah,
It's so good. Like, and then it's funny. The past events, the last years, there were some kids coming to me and they want to play a game of skate, and they really want to win against you.
yeah,
And I didn't give. I don't care. Like, I just played for fun. But they were really like, "Oh my god, now I do switch heel, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Ah, okay, switch heel. I cannot really do it. It's
I
okay."
mean, I remember the game of skate we played at Pateo, where you just didn't give a shit.
I was a little bit tired and drunk, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
was
I just
also drunk, and I was at the let's just win this shit point, and yeah,
Yeah, I just did 50-50s while everybody was doing flip tricks down the rail.
yeah. And you got me a fucking letter with one of the 50-50s because you did like a slappy up the rail, and then and
Yeah.
I just couldn't get that.
How is it for you? Did you get nervous in events or contests?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Like a
for me
lot.
also. I shake a lot.
Yeah, and like that was the first contest. I was somewhat calm, but I was also drunk. So
Yeah,
I
it was
think,
very familiar.
yeah, that's true. But like, I remember sometimes looking up, and there were like a bunch of people filming, and I knew that Timo was live streaming and stuff like that, and was like,
Spotlight on
uh,
you.
yeah, because like I have one trick down a rail, which is like my go-to trick, and I
Mhm.
usually get that in like 2 or 3 tries, like a hard flip backtail. For some reason, that's my favorite or my go-to trick, and I just couldn't get that one. I think I did a hard flip back lip instead because it's similar but much easier. But yeah, I remember everyone else cheering and being stoked that I landed it first try, and I was like, yeah, but it was only like the cop out because I knew I wouldn't get the backtail, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's sick.
and I
It's a
tried it
hard
and
rail.
failed a bunch of times.
Yeah, but it's a hard rail to ride. So steep.
Yeah, but it was my favorite obstacle there. Like I would ride that
Uh,
obstacle through the whole night, and yeah,
no. At Patio, I love the flat ground with the two curves. It's just the
yeah,
best
that's
spot
not
in the
really my
world.
thing. Like,
I love it. Just flat ground and these perfect curves, and you can do lines. And, oh my god, I want to go there now and right this spot.
and I really like a big stair set with a sturdy rail because a lot of rails are like a bit wobbly, and that
Yes,
rail was like super sturdy and super solid, and you could slam like every backtail in there or every nose blunt, and you could like really press against the rail.
yeah,
And I had so much fun at that one obstacle.
yeah. It is fun, but it's for
Yeah,
me it was too hard. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm
like
not used to it. You
that's
have
the only.
yeah, you
Sorry.
have the stair set in the Aussie shop from the old one from Timo.
Yeah,
That's
but
also super hard to ride. It's
yeah,
similar, but
but
it's
there the rail is like even skinnier, and
yeah,
it's also a bit wobbly. So
it's
on that one,
ridiculous.
yeah, on that one you can't really put pressure against it because it wobbles a bit, and then you just lose your board. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's more like a
so
practice, and then you can go to patio for the
yeah.
real stuff.
I mean that's the main reason why I'm building a park because I just want a stair set with a rail. Like that's the thing I enjoy most about my park right now, and it's going to be like the only thing in the park because I want to do like half of the surface is just flat, and the other one is just
Just
a switch and a regular rail with a yeah.
and also of concrete or
Um, with a like weird material that someone suggested that works quite well, and granite. Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
it's
excited to see it. I want to build
yeah,
a park too soon.
yeah. It's like the main thing is I have to knock the old one down, and that one
Yeah,
probably takes a lot of effort. And like I'm recovering from elbow surgery, so I can't really use my left arm. And yeah, I'm waiting until I can swing a hammer probably.
destruction,
Yeah, yeah, and I'm going to film that and
that's
maybe
cool.
have some fun with it.
Some
Um,
explosions.
yeah, but speaking of Pateo and the Portugal crew, you also did something with Flint a couple of years ago.
The photo series.
Yes.
Yes. Well, yeah. So I am going to Portugal for like 10 years now. Like every year I go there, and I hang out with Coral and the Low Pro gang, and also with in Porto with Losh and Ricardo and Irish and everybody. So
Mm,
I know them like it's my family. It's my fingerboard scene.
yeah.
And yeah, so I stay a lot with Losh, and we talked about doing collabs for a while, and we're still talking for other collabs. Maybe they happen someday. But yeah, he asked me to send him some pictures for the photo series he does. And yeah, so I sent him some pictures and he chose those two pictures I took in when I was in China with my parents. And yeah, it's quite cool. And now it's still one of my favorite graphics on a fingerboard, I think.
Do you have one of that you saved, or
Yeah,
did
I
you write
have.
yours, or?
No, no, no. I never ride flint actually. I just have them framed on my wall.
Yeah.
And I have one other flint that he gave me at Fast Fingers, I think, or something. But I don't know. I only ride my fingerboards basically.
Mm.
But they're super nice, and I love all his graphics actually. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I had him on a couple of months ago, and yeah, just talking to him about the process with his graphics was one of the coolest things. Because yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Flint is the trailblazer for like more artistic graphics, and yeah, bringing other people in.
yeah. And he does it for such a long time now, and it's still so
Mm,
fresh. It's so cool.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think it's like I was talking to him even before he started Flint about making decks, and because I also did the decks every now and then, and we have like a similar approach to making the boards and the
Mm,
vision. And his process with the graphics, it's so cool because it's so, I don't know, it's not plasticky. It's just on the board,
yeah,
and it's such a nice detail. And his his style influenced a lot of other people, I think.
absolutely.
And maybe some people should make their own things a little bit more unique.
That's absolutely true.
But yeah, you gotta copy the best. So
Yeah. Um, One thing that really stuck out to me about you is that you use 3D printing a lot for prototyping. Um,
yes.
how long have you been doing that, or how does that work for you? Do you write the actual boards that you print, or how do you get to your shapes?
Yeah, so it's a long process, and let's talk about the molds. Um, like I told before, I made the molds out of different materials, and I just made them by hand. And then in 2011, I think, I got my first metal mold from NFGT. I don't know, the guy from America that does
Yeah,
stem.
I think NFB or
NFB.
NFSB, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know
I got
what you're talking about.
one of the first metal molds from him, and then I was okay, and I never really made a lot of boards, and in then I stopped, and in 2018, starting 2019, I got my 3D printer because I wanted to experiment with it and making molds, 3D printed molds, and finding my shape, basically. So then I started doing the boards 3D printed just to test out different shapes, like different wheelbase, different angles of the kicks, and different concave and dips and everything. And so I could just uh, draw it on the computer, print it out, and 1 hour later I can test it. And then I can change something and print it again and test the new
Mm,
boards. So I had like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 boards like this printed until I made the first mold to then translate this shape to wood. And at the same time I was doing this, I realized that I actually like the 3D printed boards. So that's
mm,
only after that I started, oh, maybe I can sell it for some people to try it because it's fun, it's something new.
yeah.
And that's more like a byproduct of my quest to the perfect mold or something like this.
Yeah, because I really liked that use of a 3D printer as a prototyping tool, and
Yeah.
and before I heard that you did that. I don't think I ever heard someone else doing something like that.
I'm not aware of somebody else doing 3D
Yeah.
printed boards, but
I mean,
who
3D
knows?
printed boards, Gems has done that, but yeah,
But they're different.
yes, yeah,
They are layer printed in the 3D printed layers and then glued together.
yeah,
So it's different.
yeah, absolutely. But
But
yeah,
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 and it's funny. Like I studied product design, so I
mhm,
was familiar with like 3D printing and prototyping and making stuff on the computer. And
yeah,
then the printers got cheaper, so I could afford one to buy one for myself and
mm,
try experimenting with it. And it was I didn't believe that it works. I wanted to have my goal was to find a shape I like and then have somebody else make a mold out of metal. But then I
mhm.
tried making the mold with the 3D prints and it worked, and I'm still using 3D printed molds now.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you're not doing like that high of a volume, I think 3D printed molds are fine
Yeah.
because I think they break much faster than the metal mold does.
Yeah, you have to replace them I don't know, every now and then.
Mm,
Um, but for me, it's no problem because I like to. It gives me a possibility to always change little things, even now.
absolutely.
Like I can adapt to my needs or change some little things, and
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, it's not. I have to not commit for 2 years or 4 years for
Yeah,
to one
yeah,
mold.
you're definitely much more flexible than other people.
Yeah, and I don't make a lot of boards, so it's okay for me for
Yeah.
now. Um, I now have worked on two new molds, two new shapes, and now I'm thinking about making a metal mold with those three shapes because
Hmm.
I think they are permanent, like they are how I want them to be.
Yeah.
So like after two or almost 3 years now, I think I'm happy with the mold.
Do you use like different pressure than when you use a 3D mold versus a metal mold, or doesn't that make any difference?
For me, I use the same how you say press, the same
Yeah.
pressure. I never had a mold breaking, but
Okay.
you have to make sure that the pressure is really um, how you say not on one
Well
point but
distributed.
spread out on the whole mold.
Yeah.
And it's okay for me.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
I was quite
Um.
surprised that it works that well.
Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, because I sometimes hear people saying, decks out of 3D printed molds are less stiff because you can't press them with the same amount of pressure. And yeah, I never really talked to someone who actually has experience with that, so that's why I
Mm,
wanted to ask that.
yeah, it's interesting. Like the pressure, I don't think it's that important. I can press up to like 6 or 8 tons of pressure. It's a lot.
Mm,
But when I talking to Losh about this, and he made his machine with the where he can regulate the pressure, and
yeah,
he says it just needs to be constant, so it's always the same, and it doesn't need to be that much because when the glue is hard, it's gonna be stiff. It depends
mm.
more on the glue, I think.
Yeah.
And
I think the constant thing is like a big part
yeah,
to
and
making consistent decks.
absolutely, I always had problems with warping boards or they losing the kicks when I took them out of the mold.
Mm,
And because some people they can press the board for 2 hours and take it out and it's okay. But for me, I always leave the boards in the mold for 2 days now, so it
mm,
always is exactly the same basically, and I don't
yeah.
get a lot of warping now.
Yeah, for a while there was a thing that friends of mine were saying, yeah, I only get Berlin woods that are like a special series because those ones Timo usually does over the weekend, and that's why they stay in for a couple of days and they're
Yeah,
much more consistent. And yeah, it really makes a difference how long something is in the mold.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for some people, it works to have it one day or even shorter.
Mm,
There's also different glues, and if it's higher
yeah,
temperature, it's faster and
yeah,
everything. But
and humidity in the air and stuff.
exactly,
And
and for me, it's really hard. Especially here in the mountains, sometimes it's really cold in the nighttime, especially. And so
mm,
I just leave them for 2 days or even longer to just be sure that it's okay.
yeah,
There's still, I mean, with wood, you can never make it 100% the same, but it's more
yeah,
or less the same shape. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, I'm now going to switch over to something that I like to do with every guest, and I like to call rapid fire, even though it's anything but rapid. Um, yeah, I'm going to ask you a couple questions and
Mhm.
try to answer them in not like that long per question, but if you take a bit longer on one question, that doesn't really
Ah,
matter. So yeah, let's give this a shot. So, what's your favorite wheel?
I have to say winter wheels for sure.
You were part of the racing team back then, right?
I mean, I don't know. I got the T-shirt one time, but
I mean,
so yeah, probably.
for me, that meant you were on the team.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm friends with Winkler, so
Yeah,
yeah. And
uh,
he pioneered the wheels. But right now, I'm
absolutely.
riding the Hearts for off-white wheels and
Yes,
Ilpil Street.
I'm also riding Hartspheres.
Yeah, I like
What's
them.
your favorite deck and shape? I think that's a bit obvious, but yeah.
Yeah, it must be my shape or my shapes in the future.
Um, do you ride 32 or 34 or something in between?
34
What's your favorite trick on flat
flat kickflip.
and
Yeah,
favorite trick on any obstacle?
top shove it, nose grinds.
Well, I hate that trick.
What? No, it's so cool. It's so fast. It's just
No, 360 pop shove at nose grind. That's my jam, but I can't
it's
like
too
the
hard.
one rotation. I just can't do it.
And then
Um,
wait. It's as a show it, nose grind, pop out.
yeah, even worse. um, what's your favorite song right now?
My favorite song.
Yeah,
Hmm. I don't know. I'm so bad with names. Sunlit Days, I think it's called. It's like a hip hop
by whom?
jazz. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I ever known any songs someone mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew the stuff I'm listening to. It's just playlists from Spotify.
Yeah, I have a similar thing. Like I do create all my playlists myself, but
Mm,
like I add them like one day and like listen to them like for a year and never really look at the song names, and I'm like, oh
exactly.
yeah,
I
that's
know
a band
I
name
know
I
the
have
song,
heard before.
but not the names. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. What do you do for a living?
Well, right now I'm freelancing and as a designer, and I work here in the mountains renovating the house during summer. So I get paid a little bit by that, and then I try to make the fingerboard Gripskin a little bit bigger to maybe make a living out of it.
Uh,
But it's hard to do here in Switzerland because yeah, everything is expensive.
yeah,
But
that's definitely true.
but it also motivates me to make the fingerboard stuff a little bit more professional.
Mhm.
I have many things planned now for spring and summer. I want to do more ramps and like the new molds and stuff like this is coming.
Cool.
So let's see.
Um, concrete, wood, or granite?
Mm, wow. Well, I like concrete, but granite must be the best in the end. If it's a
Yeah.
smooth granite. I have this one
Yes.
curve from Mike Schneider from Flatface that he brought to Europe. It's like a brick of granite, and it's the perfect obstacle ever.
Mm.
That's what I have on my table.
Nollie, switch, regular, or fakie?
Not fakey.
I can
Um,
relate.
Probably regular. Yeah, I just
Do you have any,
like the flow of regular.
do you have any hobbies outside of fingerboarding?
No,
That's straightforward.
no, but
Um,
of course, it's funny. Like a lot of my hobbies, they started with fingerboarding. For example, photographing. Take a lot of
mm,
pictures. Always have a camera on me, and it started when I wanted to make fingerboard pictures, and then this turned into a hobby. And yeah, like so many things. I in the workshop here, I have a lot of woodworking stuff, and I do a lot of. I love to make furnitures and small pieces.
mm,
Also, this started with because of fingerboarding, because I made my first wooden obstacles and stuff like this. So
yeah.
all
Yeah,
of my
same for
hobbies
me.
are basically because of fingerboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, similar for me. I really like making stuff with wood, and it
Mhm.
started with me building obstacles, and yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's fingerboarding is the hobby.
Yeah. um, do you have a favorite fingerboard video?
Fingerboard video. I mean, it must be
Could be.
pissing fingers.
Yeah, that's also the same for me because it's just what started everything.
Yeah, pissing fingers won the Martin Winkler part,
Yeah.
and
Is that the one where he shaved his head?
yeah,
Like with the yeah.
the clown
Yes.
and the outdoor
The
spot
work
in Munich,
Patentamt, yeah.
Patentamt, and the Michaeli-Bad,
Yeah.
the half pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this must be the video. Actually. And
Yeah.
maybe if you ask me about parts or YouTube videos, I don't know. I mean, like all the videos from back in the days, and even now there's so many cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, if you could get one Black River park, which one would it be?
Hmm, that's hard. But there's some cool there. I don't know the name. One of the newest ones, where you have the spine. What is it? I don't know the names. Maybe just a playground for a flat park. Or the stone park we talked before.
Mhm. Yeah, the stone thing would be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm gonna choose that one.
Yeah. I guess that counts as a Black River park, yes.
Yeah, more or less. But like for
Yeah.
parks, I like parks at events and riding them, but I think for me it would get a little bit too boring. And I
Mm,
like to, and the parks they have like dedicated spots. And if I would build a park, I want to have like a more a landscape where you can find spots or like new
mm,
combinations, little stuff. So the
mm.
bacteria parks are nice, but they're a little too big in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm redoing my park after 3 years, because like I can't film anything on there that I haven't tried before, or yeah,
Yeah, and it's cool to have
everything
like
I can
one
do I
square
have
set.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. I think that also answers the next question: flat ground with obstacle or a park?
a flat ground with obstacles. Like one of my favorite spots, I told you it's the patio spot, the flat
Mm.
ground.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very nice spot, and I think that was the inspiration for the simple spot at Aussie.
Yeah. Looks similar, yeah.
Yeah. Heel flip or kick flip?
Kickflip. I like
Favorite?
wait, I like nollie and switch heel flips. I like
Yeah.
to learn them and do them, but regular heel flips are the worst trick ever.
I'm of the firm belief that once you learn nollie and switch heel, you can't do regular heel flips anymore.
That's
Because
a good theory.
before I learned them, I was kind of good at heel flips and would do like heel flip into all slides and even into like 50-50 and stuff. And now, if someone were to do like a heel flip 50-50, I would, yeah.
I only know like two people who can do nice heel flips. It's Gene and I don't remember the other guy. But,
Julian Bono also has really nice heel flips.
it's not a trick for me. So
Yeah,
kickflip.
same. Favorite fingerboarder?
Whoa, so many. Everybody who has fun fingerboarding, basically. But
That's
if
a
I have
great
to,
answer.
but also I want to answer it with a name. So just one.
Let's say three then.
Okay, so it must be Winkler, Fabian Schreiter,
Yeah,
and yeah, I think those are the. I mean, there's so many, but those two are the most important people in fingerboarding, in my
yeah,
opinion. Besides
absolutely.
besides Martin and Denise from Black River, of course.
Yeah,
But like as a
and
fingerboarding, as a
Tigolin. Yeah,
yeah, of course. But as a fingerboarding for doing tricks and riding, I think those two are my favorite.
yeah, because
And
they
they're
both,
amazing people too. Like
yeah, and both like pioneered styles of riding. Because, like I mentioned earlier, Fabio was one of the first guys who started doing switch tricks, and more than like a switch ollie or a switch kickflip
mhm.
or a switch impossible, which was yeah the impossible times, and
Oh yeah, double
and
impossible.
Winkler, yeah, and Winkler basically pioneered the way of standing on a mini ramp. Like before, I would also always like stand on the side of a big mama and just go
Mhm.
left to right.
Yeah,
And after seeing him, I started doing the like standing on one side and then yeah
yeah.
reaching over.
Yeah, and Winkler also started doing all the other the kick flips and stuff. It's if,
Yeah,
if you watch Pissing Fingers, you can see how amazing he was back in the days. And then
yeah,
Fabi did the craziest tricks you can. Everything you tell him to do, he can do it if you
yeah,
just take some time. With such a
absolutely.
style, and it's so cool. And I'm so glad he's back on Instagram, filming some
Yeah,
clips every now and then.
yeah, and he also restarted the Fingerboard DE forum,
Yeah.
and we do a hangout every couple weeks there where we meet up in voice chat and uh, talk with people from the forum for a couple hours. And yeah, he's always been at those, and it's really fun having him around again.
Yeah, it's crazy how much he made for the scene, like with the forums, and it's not only
Yeah.
him, but he's like the constant
Yes,
over the
he's
last.
always been
Yeah,
there. Like,
exactly.
uh,
I mean, there's so many other guys I can name, like all the Portuguese guys, the
mm,
Americans, and from all over the world. There's amazing people. But for me personally, like my experience or my history with fingerboarding, it must be those two.
yeah, those two are also my favorites. Like I always say Fabi, and always give an honorable mention to Winkler because yeah, they
Of course, you cannot
they
not
started it
forget.
all.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first event?
Um, my first event, I think it was the German Championship.
Hmm.
Then but the first time I met somebody because of fingerboarding, I think it was in Munich when I met Nick Herzog.
Ah.
I texted him on the forum and he was like, yeah, I'm here, let's meet up. And I was there with my family. And I think that was the first time I met somebody from the internet.
Yeah, cool. What's your favorite food?
I like bread and butter with some cheese. I like
I
it
mean,
simple, but
you can never go wrong with that. Like a good bread and some good cheese.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to cook a lot, and I started doing like self-made pizzas on a stove.
Yeah,
And
I also started making those because I started like baking and doing doughs, and like I'm currently doing my first sourdough starter, which takes like days.
nice. I just did a bread yesterday. Actually, no, it was today. I can show you a picture on Instagram later.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. um, I just assume that you're also into skateboarding, since you mentioned earlier that that's a bit how you started. Um, do you have a favorite skateboarder?
I'm bad with names, but probably Mark Gonzalez. That's one of the names I remember, and I think that's a good guy.
Gons is also, you can never go wrong with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually Martin Winkler introduced me to him. We were
You mean
watching
in real life
videos.
or? Oh yeah.
No, but on just
Ah,
videos, and he showed me all his videos.
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of matches in a way.
Yeah. Loose or tight trucks?
Medium.
I
I used to
swear,
ride.
everyone answers medium to this question,
Yeah,
and
because
I also think that I write medium. And every time I touch someone else's setup, I'm like, that's like either super loose or super hard. Like it's super weird for people to judge. Like I also don't know if I actually write medium. Like yeah.
so hard for me. I rode very hard trucks back in the days, and
Mhm.
with like the tech bushings.
Mhm.
So they were like a train. You couldn't steer anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But now it has a little bit of flex. I still ride O-rings, and but some people they have like trucks you can shake and it makes sounds.
Yeah, I hate that. Like some of the people at the other Berlin shop, like Tyrone, if you know him,
Mhm. Yeah,
um, he's one of those. If you just wiggle his setup, it makes like ding 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 ding.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, but I like to have a little bit of flex, so it's I don't know,
Mhm.
medium.
Yeah. What was your last personal NBD? So the last trick you did, you never did before,
Ooh,
or the last trick you were really stoked on?
so hard. I always forget the tricks. But let me think about it. I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't think I could answer this question right now. Yeah, it's sometimes, yeah, just hard.
But I did like maybe just some switch or nollie heel flip to grinds, a clean one.
Yeah, that's something I still haven't done yet. Like I'm still trying to get my nollie and switch heels high enough and controlled enough to get
Yeah,
into a grind.
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Uh, do you prefer one setup or multiple setups?
I usually just have one board setup, like my main setup, but
Mm,
the thing is I have at least one or two more setups somewhere. I don't actually know where they are, but for just for testing new shapes and testing new
mm,
materials, and or when somebody trades me a deck or I buy a deck, then I have a second setup, but I don't really write it that much. So I have one
yeah.
setup and a second one to test stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And
What's your most hated trick in a game of skate?
wow, It's the what was it? Double invert flips. The
Ugh.
ones that who was it? Who did it at the
Ben?
Battle of the Herrigs?
Ah, that one I don't know.
Yeah, somebody did them, and fuck it. I don't like that.
Yeah, same. Um, plastic or urethane wheels?
Urethane for sure.
What's your favorite beverage?
Water. I like
Cats?
uh, I like coffee and everything else, but I
Yeah,
drink a lot of water recently.
I mean that's healthy.
Yeah, we have the best water up here in the mountains, so
Yeah, that's
even
also
better.
true. Yeah, I used to go on vacations in the mountains like for 20 years straight, like 3 4 times a year. Always in
Nice.
like South Tyrol, so northern Italy,
Yes, nice.
and yeah, it's just different there. And also in Bozen, which is the biggest city there, they also had a Black River Park in there, and every time we
Yes, I
went,
remember. I remember.
they had one with the Nokia stickers,
Exactly.
and yeah,
I
and
always
every
wanted to
time we
go there.
went there, yeah,
Have you
I
been there?
wanted to go there just to ride like 20 minutes on the park.
Nice. I remember being there in the Meran, the next city there,
Mhm.
and we went to Bozen for a day, and I couldn't find the store or something, or it was closed or something like that.
Ah, it was
Yes,
the Sportler. It was like right
yes, the
in the
Nokia Park.
center. Yeah.
So cool. Wow.
Cats or dogs?
Personally, cats. I mean, I like dogs a lot, but for me, I would have a cat.
Yeah. Do you have any sponsors?
Yeah, I think so.
Who are they?
Well, I don't know. It's Black River, of course, and like you said, with the Winklers team, I'm on
Yeah.
Burlingwood, but it's. I mean, I make my own fingerboards, so
Yeah.
and my own ramps. I don't need a lot of stuff. It's more giving support and being friends with them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, what's your favorite Instagram follow? Like, what's the account you like seeing new content of the most? Can be anything.
Hmm. Let me check. I'm so bad with names, actually. Oh, now I know. It's Shepherd's Archive. It's a
Okay,
guy.
what is?
It's a guy from Slovenia, I think, or I don't really exactly know. And he's a fingerboarder, and he makes amazing pictures and especially videos with a lot of feeling. I don't know. It's very cool. It's the most progressive or new thing in fingerboarding for me. Like
I
I've
have to
never
check
seen
that out.
somebody doing stuff like him. It's really cool.
Have to check that out. And the very last question: what's your favorite overall company in fingerboarding?
That's easy. Gripskin. No, but um, Black River. I would say Black River.
Yeah, they done so much for the scene. Like
They
it's
are
insane.
still. You can't thank them enough, and I know it from the outside. Sometimes it looks a little bit strange what they do, but it's just a different level, and
Yeah.
there's so much going on behind the scenes there. It's
Mm,
incredible, and it's just you cannot thank them enough for what they do and
yeah.
did and will do, and so
Yeah, they brought like a very different kind of professional level to fingerboarding. Uh, like even still, they treat fingerboarding so much more professional than a lot of other companies do, and
yeah,
with like a whole dedicated workflow and employees, and yeah, it's something that's really unique and on a scale like nothing else in fingerboarding.
Yeah, and I think we could talk like hours about this because it's such a big topic. But just thinking about what they did, like back in the days when they went to whole Germany, to every skate shop basically, and they
Yeah,
showed what fingerboarding is, and they introduced the people to fingerboarding, and that's why we got the biggest scene in Germany back in the days because of
absolutely.
them. They went for tours for weeks, just
Like
living in the van, and
the Stabilo sessions that they did,
mhm,
where they went to like every town, like so many shopping centers, and those weren't even skate shops. Like those were just like regular shops where you could buy paper and pens and stuff,
yeah,
because Stabilo is a pen company. And yeah, I would always go to a Stabilo session if one was near, and it was really, really cool because they were always like in the middle of like a shopping mall or like a street
yeah,
with a bunch of shops, and you had so many people walking by, and also
yeah,
the thing Black River did with Galileo in 2006, I
yes,
think it
with
was.
Elias, yeah,
But yeah, with Elias, where they came to Fast Fingers. By the way,
yeah.
do you have that video? Do you know where to find that video? Because I searched like everywhere and
Hmm.
I couldn't find it.
I don't think so. I I don't think I have it on a hard disk. I don't know.
Because I
But
think
yeah,
I was in one of the opening shots looking very awkward. Because I was like peeking through a curtain and there was suddenly like a big TV camera behind
yeah, I
that
think it
curtain.
was
And
one of the first Fast Fingers I went to. They filmed. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah, it was Fast Fingers 9.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the Black River once again. Like I remember going a lot of like festivals they have or exhibition show, trade shows,
Mm,
stuff like that. And the funny thing is, like today, I don't know about one single company that does something similar to this, even 10, 20 years later.
yeah,
And
like
I think it's such an important thing, like especially in the US where the scene is growing a lot. There should be people going around and really go out and find new, like not customers, but new people to show
audience.
fingerboarding.
Yeah,
I mean, Sorry does it locally, and some people do some stuff locally, but it needs
you're
to.
like
People need to
Ben.
start investing a little bit more
Yeah,
time and
you
effort. And,
I know that Ben Dulac did like a Canada
mhm.
tour where he packed with Phil from Camel Pro. They packed like a few parks in a van and drove
Yeah,
for a
that's sick.
couple of days. But yeah, it's like the whole trade show stuff and getting connections with local skate shops and doing cooperations with other companies like the Bastelboards one. There've
Hmm.
been so many over the years, and yeah, like a couple
Yeah, I
days
think
ago, I was walking through a park and saw someone with a Black River skateboard, and was like,
nice.
"Holy shit, this doesn't happen!" Like,
It's so cool.
yeah,
Yeah, but I
I was
think this
telling
is
my friends, and they were like, "What's Black River?"
so I don't care.
Yeah,
It's just a skateboard.
yeah,
So cool. Yeah, but I think this is something that some people should learn from them.
mm,
Like especially like people they that want to make a living out of it, or I mean some people make money with fingerboard stuff, but they don't like open up new things or make new things
yeah,
possible. It's just the same people from yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
So yeah, that's Black River for me.
yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of controversy and people talking shit about them, but in the end of the
Mm,
day, there's always more than one side of the story. So
exactly.
it's yeah,
And and
don't
that's
believe
also the
everything
thing.
you
Yeah, that's also the thing. Even we people who are more involved in the German scene than other people, like even we sometimes only hear one side of the story or hear it
hear. Yeah,
through like
exactly.
fourth hand from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone. And uh, yeah, I usually try to keep an open mind and be like, yeah, it's probably something in the middle because it always is. And yeah,
Yeah, the problem I think is especially for Black River, they work a lot with friends. They want to involve like friends working with them, And then it's the mess between friendship and it's work also, it's business.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, everybody is human and makes mistakes, and then you have
Mm.
to be able to talk. And some people they just cannot talk,
Yeah, that's
so it gets like frustrating sometimes. Yeah.
yeah. I I can I can understand why Black River cut ties with some people, because there are some people who are just hard to talk to in fingerboarding, and I
Yeah.
don't fault them for at some point just saying, yeah, this is not going to work.
Yeah,
Let's
and if there is money involved and stuff like that, it's, you
yeah,
have to look for yourself in the end of the day, because otherwise there will be nothing left.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. But I think this is as good of a place to end as any.
Yeah, we
Do you have
talked a long time.
anything? Yeah. Do you have any last things you want to shout out or last words you want to say?
It's hard, but keep fingerboarding, have fun, and don't take yourself too seriously when doing it. And
Yeah.
what I think is important is that we start like educating people again what fingerboarding really is about, like the community, the exploring new things and pushing things forward, and not making it for the wrong reasons. Like I see a lot of people doing it to make some quick money, or I don't know, don't care that much about fingerboarding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we really have to care about this small scene we have and push it forward, and I don't know, celebrate fingerboarding.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do with my stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you once again for being my guest. This was a really cool talk, and yeah, you'll catch me in the next episode. Bye.